Real quick, don't forget you can enter my giveaway for a Poor Things t-shirt or a White Noise sweater. Here are the rules to enter. Okay, thanks so much. Good luck. After Poor Things took home 4 Oscars last year, certified freak Yorgos Lanthimos is already back with a new film 6 months later, an anthology of 3 separate stories with the same actors playing different roles in each of them. I feel like most people really found Lanthimos in a big way after the success of The Favorite and Poor Things, which was written by Tony McNamara, but real ones know his older movies are where a lot of his freak really shows up. And Kinds of Kindness falls right in line with those films because this was fucking strange. I liked it. I was a little apprehensive coming into this movie, I can't lie. Anthology movies aren't really my preferred choice, and I'm actually kind of hit or miss with some of Lanthimos' older stuff, and you combine that with the very long runtime, and it was possible that I could have hated my life during this movie. But instead, I found Kinds of Kindness to be a really good time. Admittedly strange, but a good time. To me, Yorgos Lanthimos is one of those filmmakers where you can tell early on if this is going to be for you or not. Like, I haven't personally talked to anyone who was like, yeah, Poor Things, the first half, I didn't like it. And then the second half came around and wow, I really liked it. Like, no, it's usually like, oh my gosh, what a masterpiece. I love every second of it. Or, yeah, this really wasn't for me. What the fuck was going on the entire time? And from the opening Searchlight logo with Sweet Dreams just blasting, it really makes you lock in. Now, as mentioned earlier, it is 3 separate stories, and there are no spoilers here, I promise, but here are the titles for each of them. The Death of RMF, RMF is Flying, and RMF Eats a Sandwich. Now, RMF is the only recurring character between the 3, just played by the same actor, and I'll just leave it at that. And somehow, some way, the movie just gets stranger with each story in succession. The first story centers heavily on Jesse Plemons, and I'll let the synopsis speak for itself. A man without choice who tries to take control of his own life. Arguably the strongest story start to finish out of the 3. Just Yorgos reminding us that we are feeble creatures who want the illusion of choice, but when it actually comes down to it, we don't want it. Along with the metaphor of a controlling or manipulative relationship and how far one will go to please said person. And it's funny in particular because the movie kind of sets you up, as I said earlier, with the Sweet Dreams just blasting with the opening logos. I mean, I was damn near ready to get up and start fist pumping. And then it just cuts and throws you into this Jesse Plemons character who's so fucking awkward. The second story involves both Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons, who plays a policeman whose wife went missing at sea only for her to return, but seems a little different. Now, one thing about this one is that this one definitely plays the most like a goddamn horror movie. All 3 of these stories certainly have moments of tension and where it just feels downright scary, and the music certainly adds to that, but this second one in particular is just filled with the most anxiety and dread. It's that special anxiety of like, what the fuck is happening, and then what the fuck is going to happen. And this one in particular really gave me the same feeling as when I watched Killing of a Sacred Deer, not in terms of story or anything like that, but in terms of eliciting a reaction. It's just filled with those moments where I feel like I have no control over what's happening at all, and that is both exciting and also terrifying considering you're watching a Yorgos Lanthimos film. And then the third story is largely centered on Emma Stone, who plays someone who is desperate to find someone with a special ability and includes some religious cult-like group as well. Again, filled with those moments to totally keep you off balance, and has some really uncomfortable scenes, low-key like trigger warning for certain people, and I'm sure you'll know when you'll see it. Now listen, the runtime is really long. It is like 2 hours and 45 minutes, which quite frankly is kind of insane. And while this movie didn't drag like I thought it would, I would also be lying if I told you that I didn't start to feel it in the third story. Now, could that be because I've been suffering from chronic lower back pain for a really long time now, and it's starting to get fucking debilitating? Maybe, but yeah, I started to feel it a little bit. And one thing that seems common, at least from what I've seen, and I'll have to agree, is that the movie does end on the weakest story, in my opinion. It's just the one that I feel like I had the least grasp on in terms of the other stories. It's the one in comparison to the first 2 where I feel the least compelled by in terms of trying to look for some deeper meaning or just think about it more in general. So much of these stories have the same kind of through line of power and manipulation and relationships especially. And to me, the third one is just not as compelling as the first 2. It's not expressed in the most creative of way, just in my personal opinion. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but considering how strange this movie is, and this movie is fucking strange, I wish it got stranger. I guess the better way to put it is I wanted to leave the theater just absolutely buzzing, or at least being like, oh my gosh, what the hell? I can't believe it ended like that, rather than the somewhat muted ending that we got. And I understand that ending is definitely purposeful. And, it might be crazy to some of you, but, that's just my preference. Like, I hate to bring up Babylon again, but, like, that movie's ending, at the very least, it's a huge talking point. It really swings for it, something like that. Now, the ensemble is excellent, and, I like every ensemble. There are some that stand out and some that get the short end of the stick. It's just a matter of how it goes. I really love Jesse Plemons in this. He is the most adaptable in each story. And I understand that he is definitely the most prominent character, even more so than Emma Stone, just in terms of the overall 2-hour, 45-minute film. But man, he really blends in. He's just a top tier character actor who's able to play any role given to him, like, at all, whether you need him to be this normal everyday man who could be a little awkward or some fucking freak, like, he's going to do it. And I never thought that the weird cop from Game Night, which is a 5-star masterpiece, I never thought that that actor would end up being one of the most interesting and sought after actors working today. But I'm glad this is the reality I'm living in. Now, Emma Stone, Arizona's Own, is always good, but it's kind of boring to say. I mean, she has this insane partnership with Yorgos Lanthimos, and they're making another movie together with Jesse Plemons as well. Can't wait for that one, but she's excellent. We don't need to talk about her. Honestly, just for some reason, this movie just worked for me. Even with my, complaints about the third story, this just worked. I don't know what it is about anthologies or movies from acclaimed filmmakers where some people are like, it's not like one of their best. I had the same feeling of The French Dispatch. I am not a Wes Anderson guy, as I've said before, and some people really came out of that movie being like, oh man, like, it's okay. And I was expecting to really not like it. And instead, I actually really like The French Dispatch. I feel similarly about Kinds of Kindness. Because I think this movie, at least how I see it, can just work no matter how you slice it. Even if you think this movie has nothing interesting to say at all and is just being weird for the sake of being weird, it's still very compelling. It's a very, I don't know if enjoyable is the right word. I was going to say enjoyable. It's a very interesting watch, and you want to see how it ends. And obviously, if you wanted to look deeper and see how the stories connect thematically and what Lanthimos is trying to say about humanity, it can obviously work like that too. With that said, I can't say for sure if this will work for you. As I mentioned earlier, I think you'll be able to tell early on if this movie is going to work for you or not. But it worked for me. Maybe I am a freak after all. Kinds of Kindness, 4 stars. Is his next movie coming out next year? Bro needs to slow down, man. Like, go to therapy or something.